All right, guys. So it's about wintertime in Colorado right now, or getting to be about wintertime. That means a lot of time in the shop to get a lot of things done that I don't usually get the time to do during the summertime because you're out camping and doing all that kind of stuff, right? So today we're working on this ram. And yes, that is still not completed yet. That is the habitat that goes on the back of my LMTV. And that's actually still in the paint shop right now. So that's my excuse for not getting that completed. But today we're talking about the ram, the AUV Prospector XL. And we got a couple of things going on in here. It's all probably not going to be in one video, but here's what we're looking at. We got this box right here, which has a bunch of goodies in here. So I've got an A139 Pro dash cam with a rear cam that goes along with that. So there'll be an installation on that. I've got a Garmin Tread Base Edition. I actually got this a while ago for my ATV, but I still have it. So I figured I'm going to install it in this truck and see how well I like it. This is a 5.5-inch screen. And I know they make like a 10-inch screen out there, and I think that's pretty cool because go big or go home, right? But for today, I'm going to try to install that and see what that looks like. I also have, well, that's the Garmin. It's out of the box, but that goes in there. And then I got these guys, Bullet Point mounting solutions, and a couple of doohickeys in here that I bought to kind of go with the system that I already have in the truck. And I'll show you guys how I installed that. I think I've got a video, but I should have already posted it by the time you watch this. But that's that guy right there. And I just got a bunch of accessories to go along with that. So you can actually mount cell phones and whatnot. And then I've got these guys right here, just got them from Amazon, but they're Anderson plugs. And I think I'm gonna put those somewhere in the front, maybe even right here. So I've got access to the battery without actually popping the hood. So that's gonna go there, I think, and that'll be another video. And then I've got this $1,300, or is it $1,400? One of the two, AV Expedition Recovery Gear Kit. It's a lot of stuff in there. It's actually pretty heavy as well, but $1,300 seems like a lot of money to pay for this. But we're gonna go through this when I open it and kind of just walk you guys through it, what's in there and what makes it so cool or so expensive, right? So we'll be doing that again, not today, but coming down the road. All right, and then over here, we've got these two radios right here. The first radio here is a 50 watt, same as this one. So it's the most powerful radio you could get at the moment, or when I got these. You're watching this, I don't know when you're watching this, but this one here ended up being not too convenient because of the way it mounts, right? I'm gonna have to put this in a place where I can still manipulate it. So I switched to this guy right here, and you can actually configure everything, change channels, and do whatever else not right on the handset. So I think this is what I'm actually going to put in. So a lot of things that we got going on here that all need to happen this winter season or whatever else not. So I'm not going to do all this in one video, obviously, but we'll try to step it off into different videos. The first thing that I'm going to do today is figure out what I'm going to install first. All right. All right, so we're going to begin our installation with this little dash cam guy right here. And I'm thinking that right here on this side is going to be the most unobtrusive way of doing this, right? It'll be clear out of my line of sight and sitting right here. So that is the point where I think I'm going to do that. As far as running the wires, it also has a camera that goes to the back, right? That's this guy right here. And that's probably the most annoying thing about it. One, that it's not wireless. That'd be kind of cool if it was wireless. So I'm going to have to run that to the back. The way I'm thinking about doing this is by removing as little as possible, right? I don't want to have to remove my A-pillar. I don't want to peel these things off and do all that kind of stuff. I may have to, but the idea is not to do that. So we'll see what that looks like, but that wire has to run all the way to the back, right? So in the box itself, let's get this guy opened. And again, guys, like with most of my stuff or all my stuff here, none of this stuff is sponsored. I've purchased all this equipment here with my own money. So I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just do some research and I find out what seems to be the best out there. So so far, in my opinion, which is of course subjective, I think this is pretty good. So this little bag is going to have the little camera itself, and that's this guy. So very well made, like it doesn't feel plasticky, it actually feels pretty substantial. This camera rotates so that you can position it and then move it around. So imagine this camera right here sitting, I guess like so, right here. All right, so imagine this sitting up here like so. All right, and then you can rotate this camera to face the street. All right, and that's how that's going to sit. Another position perhaps is down here. It's small enough that that would also work without being too much in the way. So I'll have to just see what's going to be best. As far as connections, it's got this connection right here for power, Type-C USB. So fortunately, I've got this connection here, so I could wire it exactly right there. But if you're going to use some of the advanced features that it has, like park mode, where it kind of records images in case somebody's walking by, you're going to need to hardwire it directly into a fuse panel, right? So that it's connected directly to the battery. So I'll probably end up doing something like that. But that is the camera. So that's the camera right there. And then at the bottom of this box, there should be everything else. All right, some instructions and whatnot. A bunch of wiring, cable, USB, Type-C, or regular USB, and then Type-C on the other end. And then this here is for the rear camera. So it's not too thick, so it's pretty thin. So I should be able to find a way to route that without causing too much disassembly. And then this guy here is the rear camera, and it just sticks to the back window. So that's that guy. And then what else do we have in here? This is the charging cable, it looks like, if you were just going to plug it into your USB adapter. So I'm not going to use this. I'm going to, like I said, hardwire it, but I will still plug it in just to test it and make sure the camera is working. So I'll do that. And then that's everything in this box. All right, guys. So the mission today is installing dash cam in the Ram 3500. So to do that, I'm going to need to remove my housing that goes around my rearview mirror. So I've started doing that already, but I figured, hey, let me record this in case somebody's wondering about the same thing. All right, so this is what it looks like, right, when it's mounted on the vehicle. Well, I guess like this. And so when you're trying to take this cover off, what you're doing, if we turn it around, is there's a few clips in here. Let's see if we can't get a little bit of light. All right, so this little piece right here, the way it connects to this would probably make a whole lot more sense now that it's out. But it's got the two little feet down here at the very bottom of it. They hook into this area down here at the bottom. So down here, that kind of hooks up like that. And then these clips go into it like so. And it just kind of pushes into place. If you had access to the back, you don't really have good access to it. If you had access to the back, you could reach in here and just kind of push these clips in like so, and these bottom ones in like so, and then it just kind of pops out. All right, so the first thing you're going to have to do is remove your housing, right? That goes with your rear view mirror right here. And I'll show you guys, this piece here comes out of this section right here. You kind of have to put your finger up here and then just pull it down, right? You just put your hand here by the headliner, put your finger behind it, and just kind of try to pull it out. So that's what I did with mine anyway. As you can see though, it's got these clips that are kind of to the side. So the best way to not break those is to kind of put some kind of pry tool right here on the side, and that will push this guy in so you can actually take this out, right? If you loosen this here, you can kind of maneuver it a little bit more. So you just are gonna have to finagle with it until you get that off. I wish I had better instructions of telling you guys how to remove this, but this piece has to come out first, all right? So that just sits in there like so. And the way it clips in is one clip up here, another clip over here, and then just down here, it's got these little feet that kind of go down in that area down, if we can get back there. So you can kind of see the holes a little bit right there. So that's what you have to contend with to get this out. All right, so that's the piece that comes out first. The next step is actually a whole lot easier. If you can get this out, everything else is gonna go smooth. So right here, there's a little hole. I like to put this in and just kind of softly pry on it a little bit. And then that just kind of comes out like so. And I'll show you guys how this is connected. So this just has a couple of clips. So you can see there's a clip that holds it in place right here. And then there's another section over here, another section over here, and another section over here. So that's how that works. And this will kind of show you what it looks like when that's not on. Let's see if we can get some light in here. Okay, so that's what it kind of looks like back there. So this is the clips we were talking about. That's one, the silver one right there. That's another one down here. And then if you go to the driver's side, that's two clips right there and there. And that is what you have to contend with to remove that. So what you're looking at here is the camera for the cruise control, I believe, right there. And over here is the wiring, I think, that we're gonna have to remove so that we can plug the adapter in order to get us to be able to wire a USB adapter onto that, which is gonna be used for the dash camera. So here's the kit that we're gonna be using right here, the Donga dash cam power adapter. It didn't specifically say my version or my 3500, but it said like 1500, but it was just on Amazon. I read some of the comments, they said it had worked on 3500, so I went ahead and got it, and here's the website. Not sponsored, like most of my stuff or all of my stuff. This is all paid for 100%. So, all right, so the next step to this process is this guy right here. So this is supposed to plug into this plug that we're gonna remove right here. And that's what's gonna give us our USB connection. So get this mirror out of the way, grab this. There's just a little button right there that you have to push in. So I'll push that down and then just pull that out. Comes out nice and easy. All right. Open this packet right here. All right, so it just goes in like so. Push that in. That's what that looks like now. And then you take this end, this new end. So this goes in where this black one was going in before, like so. All right, and then voila, instant USB. We're gonna test that to make sure it works, but that's how that's supposed to work. And then we just have to find a convenient place to stick this, and we'll be good to go. The kit also comes with a couple of different USBs here. I see a mini USB connection. I see micro USB. No type C though, so oh, there it is, a type C connector right there. So it's got all three of them. That's actually pretty cool. All right, so let's wrap this job here up. All right, so I got that plugged in just to test the camera, and I think I'll have to turn my ignition on here. So let's try to balance this on the knee. Turn that on to accessory. And just like that, that turns on.
Please insert a memory card.
All right, so that's actually providing power, and you can see it also has a light in there to show that it is on. So that's wonderful. That's actually very good. So now we're just gonna put this back up there, close it up, and that's just this beeping. So, all right, let's close this guy up. All right, so I want my cable to come out of the bottom of this guy right here where I'm looking right now, right? So let's see if I can put this down. But I want that cable to come out of right here. So I'm just gonna notch this out a little bit, try to do a clean enough notch that it doesn't look bad, right? And I won't see this part anyway when I'm driving because this faces the windshield. So just a little notch on there is not gonna make a world of difference. So that is the idea here. So let's see about getting it done. I've got my Dremel here, and I'm just going to use this guy here to make the marking right here. So I'll measure the center, right, and just come down like that, and then just notch it ever so slightly right here. All right, so that's on a little notch right there. I'll cut this off here so it levels off a little bit. You can see there's a little outcropping here from the melting, so I'll just level that off and that'll be good. There we go. That's good enough. All right, so here's what we got done here. So I'm not sure of the final placement or what I'm going to do with this area right here. I'm also thinking about changing this mirror out for the LED one. So I've temporarily put this in here. You can see this USB thing is just kind of hanging there. And I'm going to have this cable come out and then just come out like that through the little notch we created over here. So I think on that note, so I'm going to start assembling this, and the order of operations is how it was removed. So the first thing we had to remove, of course, was this little cover right here. So we're going to figure that out and put it back in. So I got this hanging out here where I'm going to want it to come out at. I don't think this has to manage anything, so I don't think it's going to matter if this is covered. It already has some other kind of doohickeys over here, but I'm hoping that having this cable go in front of it is not going to mess anything up with the radar or anything like that. So I'm going to just route this over the top of this. All right. And then have it come out like so. All right. All right. And this cable actually came out of that box in the kit. I didn't use the factory cable that comes with the camera because that's way too long. So now I'm going to position this guy. Right there, where it's going to go. Get my clip here. So I forgot to get my cable out here, so I'm just gonna push this, remove this by pushing it down a little bit. Find my cable, pop it out like so. All right, and then snap this back into place. All right. So that's what it looks like. You can see the USB cable coming out right here. I'm going to position my camera like so. All right, and that's perfect. And then just plug that in right there. Okay. All right, now because my camera is a 2-channel, it's got a front and a back camera. So I'm gonna wire this out to the back. So this here, you can see this says rear. So this is gonna go all the way to the rear, at least this end. And then over here, this doesn't really have a label on it. I'm assuming that's what it means anyway. But I'm gonna drive this all the way to the rear, and I'm gonna keep this here in the front, okay? The orientation is a little different as well, so it makes sense that one would be for one and one would be for the other. I'm not sure if the pinouts and everything else is also different on there, so I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. And then in here, I'm gonna try to just run this in the weather stripping, continue through this B pillar right here, and then just go all the way to the back. I don't really wanna get all crazy with it, taking things apart, so I think that may work, but we'll see what happens. All right, so there's a lot of this cable right here. So what I've done is I've coiled it up. I kind of measured exactly how I'm going to run it, and then I coiled it up and then just zip tied it. And I'm going to try to see if I can't stash it in here somewhere, like so. So we'll see how that works out. Otherwise, I'm going to have to find another situation for it. So it's crazy long and just completely unnecessary for the way I'm routing mine, which is just going up the top. Some people say that, well, I've heard people go down and then around the vehicle through the floor. And I think maybe if you did that, you would run out, especially in a crew cab, right? You may run out if you were to go that way, but the way I'm going to do it, I'm not going to need that much. So now I just need to figure out exactly if there's a place for me to stash this in here. So that's the part I'm going to work on. All right, so this cable routing looks like it's going to work, and it's taking all of 5 minutes to get this done, as opposed to disassembling my whole vehicle to get this wired. And I like the idea too that I can always take it off whenever I don't need it, or if I ever decide this is not something that I want, it's going to be easy for me to just take it out. It'll take, you know, even less time, maybe 2 minutes to get the whole thing taken back out again. So just like that, I mean, I'm filming at the same time while talking to you guys and doing this, and that's how efficient it's gone. So this here is a little shorter than what I would want because I want to mount it as central as possible, right? So ideally, I want to take it all the way up to the edge here, but I also have this guy right here, which is this pillar for my headache rack. So I think that for my situation, just going right here is going to be the best I'm going to be able to do. I guess I could move it a little bit more this way, but I think this is going to still be in the way. So I think if I went halfway and just put it right here, like maybe right at the center of this headrest, it's not going to be ideal, right? But for what I'm working with, I think that's going to be best. But anyways, this is a good way of routing this. You just have to go in, kind of tuck these away. If you got corners like this where it's kind of showing, you can easily go in there and kind of tuck it in there so it's not visible. I found the best way to do that is to drop it into this instead of just trying to lay it on top of this or just barely inside. Drop it all the way into the corner right there, and that'll clean that up. You see how that looks now. So that's pretty good. All right, and yeah, all of 5 minutes to get that done. So definitely, I think the way to go on this setup. All right, so we've got it situated now. That's where it's gonna go, and that's a good spot because it doesn't really impair my vision when I'm sitting up here driving. The rest of the wire is coiled up and in here, right? And then I ran it up there alongside the top right here in the headliner, all right? And behind this, underneath this weather seal, and underneath that B pillar all the way to the back, and then into the C pillar right there, okay? And then you can kind of maybe see it right there running to the rear camera, okay? Okay, so I think that really worked out. So routing it through here, I think made things a whole lot easier than if I tried to completely wire it going through the channel over here. As well, if I wanted to remove it, right, it gives me the flexibility to be able to take it off in 5 minutes. So to me, that's big because I never do anything that I'm like, okay, this is going to be permanent. Maybe technology changes, a new camera comes out, and I want to install that. I would hate to have to take my car apart in order to do that. So for me, this works really well, and it's also very clean. We'll see how well it holds up. As far as the camera itself is concerned, I've got a couple of shots here that I'll include, and you guys can kind of see the first picture here is with that rear camera in the upper left hand corner, and you can see that headache rack in the back kind of gets in the way. I like the headache rack because sometimes I'm carrying things that are bigger, and I like the fact that they're not going to try to hit the cab, so I do like it. But when you're trying to use a camera like that, that's also kind of annoying. So I do need to come up with some kind of solution for that, but that's like a future problem. For right now, it looks like it's set up and it's working. On the second picture right here, you're also able to flip cameras, so now you can see it a little bit more clearer, or it's a little bit better. It's still that whole bar in the middle, and I tried playing around with the camera, moving it a little bit off to the left, and that doesn't give me as much view as I want. So I'd rather have the camera slightly right and then have that bar in the middle than having it all the way to the left. And then I couldn't put it center anyway because I've got that sliding window in the back, so I'd have to, I don't know, come up with some creative way of making sure that when that opens, that runs all the way across and then is able to run all the way back, like maybe some kind of spring cable situation of some sort. But for right now, honestly, I'm happy with the way it's set up, and it looks like it's going to work, so I'm going to call it good. Slight little problem is I think I had to turn off CarPlay. Don't quote me on this, but I did have to finagle with it a little bit. I'm going to do a review on the camera after I've been using it for a while, but I did have to finagle with it a little bit. I ended up just turning off CarPlay in order to let it, or to make it work. So I don't know if I'm going to need to have CarPlay off in order to have the camera on or connected to Wi-Fi so I can control it with my phone. It'll still record whether I've got it connected to the phone or not, but if I have to connect it to the phone, I think I have to turn off CarPlay. And so, I don't know, a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world. The camera still works and it still does record. As soon as you turn it on, it starts recording, unless you push the stop button, and then it starts beeping, which is very annoying. But it just keeps on making this beeping noise for however long until you press record again. So I'll have to figure that out, but I'll do a review on the camera as we start to use it a little bit more. But for right now, it's installed. It looks like it's gonna work, and that's it for right now. Peace.